Have you ever wanted the ability to be able to take your tasks from Todoist and put them on your calendar? Well, you've actually always had this feature, whether you're using Apple Calendar, Microsoft Outlook, or Google Calendar. But now, Todoist have just improved this feature dramatically. Now, to do this, all you've had to do in the past is just go into your Todoist settings up here on the top right. We can see it right here. Choose integrations, which is right down at the bottom, and then just scroll down to where you can see calendar. Now, you have a choice. You can use Apple, Outlook, or Google. Now, to get the best out of the calendar integration with Todoist, the best calendar is Google, because Google gives you what's called two-way synchronization. What that means is you can start a task on Todoist. So it's, for example, write blog post, and I can then give it a time of 10 a.m. Now, when I do that, it will then populate 10 a.m. on my calendar. Well, that's not such a big deal because that would also happen on Apple Calendar and Outlook. The reason why with Google Calendar you have the two-way synchronization is when I open up my calendar and go, I can't do it at 10 a.m. Okay, let's push it off until 2 p.m. Then I can move that task in Google Calendar to 2 p.m. and it will then update in Todoist, which is great. Now, Todoist have just released a new feature that allows you to do something extra that will change this feature altogether for you. This new feature that Todoist is rolling out as we speak, and don't worry if you don't have it, you will have it very soon. What it allows you to do is to add a time to it. Now, I don't just mean I want to do this at 2 p.m, which is what we've always been able to do. For example, I could write a task, write blog post, and then today, which would give it today's date, at 2 p.m. It would then give me the time at 2 p.m. No. What it's doing now is you can add something extra. And that something extra is how long you want to do it. So that means that I can write my task, write blog post at 2 p.m. today at 2 p.m. for 45 minutes. What that's going to do is then move this onto my calendar as a 45-minute task. Now, this is quite a big deal because before all we had was the ability to set a time for the task, i.e. do it at 2 p.m, and then it would default to 1 hour. Now, I know a lot of people have kind of not necessarily complained, but hope or wish that you could actually vary the times. Well, now you can. You can state how long you want to spend on that task. So let me be a little bit honest with you here. I'm not a big fan of integrating my productivity tools with other tools. I've had experiences in the past where the connection or the integration broke and I wasn't aware of it immediately and things slipped through the cracks. I missed appointments and I didn't get all my tasks coming into my inbox. So I have decided personally that I like to keep my 3 most important productivity tools completely integration free. And that means I have my task manager separate, my calendar is separate, and my notes is separate. If I want to see my tasks and calendar together, I have a big screen so I can put the two together and I can look and see what can be done. But I do know a lot of people wish to be able to see their tasks on their calendar. I also know that some people do like to be able to, when they're planning the day, is move the tasks into the calendar so that they can have the day is planned out. And that's great if that's what you like to do. Well, this new feature in Todoist is going to make that really easy because all you need to do is decide how long each task is going to be. Now, I know that's not necessarily an easy thing to do, but if you follow processes, you probably have a pretty good idea how long something will take. Let me give you an example. Let's say, for example, that I have a 2-hour time block for writing today, and I have two pieces of writing to write. I have my blog post to write and I have my newsletter to write. Let's just say, for argument's sake, that each one takes 45 minutes and I want a 15-minute break in between each one. So at 9:30 in the morning, I can say write blog post for 45 minutes tomorrow at 9:30. I can then add for this other task, my writing the newsletter task, write newsletter for 45 minutes tomorrow, or whatever day you wanted to do, from, let's say, 10:30. So that will take me to 11:30. So that gives me a 15-minute break. Now, in Google Calendar, I love the way that this is done, because as you can see, I can still see the time block, my writing time block, but now in red, you can see the task that I've allocated to it. Now, I love that. I think that is a really, really nice way of being able to plan out your time blocks. Now, the way that I use it is my labels in Todoist correspond to my time block. So audio visual time, communication time, writing time, project work. So I can now allocate specific tasks to within that time. Now, to be honest, I'm not going to do that before people say, are you changing your system? No, I'm not changing my system. But I do know from my coaching clients that some people really do like to be, when they're planning the day, to be allocate what they're going to do. And this new feature is going to allow you to do that. So I hope this has helped you. I hope this gets you excited. Now, before we finish, I should point out, if you don't have this feature yet, you probably means you need to turn on experimental features. To do that, just go into settings and you can turn it on from there. That's going to be the best way to do it. Now, you may have to give it a few hours, perhaps a day or two, for it to come through, but it is coming through. So if you're watching this video, say 2 months later, it should already be here. So the simple way to do it is, all you have to do is to write in for and then the amount of time that you want. Now, if you want to learn about Todoist's other recent feature, and that is something that they've used to really speed up the collecting process, then I strongly recommend that you watch this video next.